Welcome to SBU 405D Project Management. My name is Felicia Freedied and Aqua. I'll be taking you through this unit 4, Project Human Resource and Communication Management. Our discussion will focus on Section 5, Plan Communication Management. At the end of the session, you should be able to explain project communication plan and outline the components of the project communication. So project communication planning is actually the processes that are required to ensure timely and appropriate planning, collection, creation, distribution, storage, retrieval, management, control, monitoring, and ultimate disposal of project information. Everything in relation to information, how you're going to get information, how you're going to keep information, how you're going to work with information, and then when we are done with the information, how to even dispose or discard it is all needed when we're doing the communication planning. And so communication planning pulls the project actually together. And so this puts the responsibility on the project manager not to only develop the organizational structure, but to also develop the project communication plan, as well as the various lines of communication. So what is the project communication? So this is basically planning. This is very important because the ultimate success of the project depends on our planning with the communication. So inadequate communication planning will lead to problems such as delays, especially when it comes to message delivery, communication of information to the wrong audience, or insufficient communication to stakeholders, and obviously misunderstandings and misinterpretation of the message communicated. If you don't plan properly, you may send a right message to the wrong audience, which is a flaw. The stakeholders may not have adequate information, which is a flaw. There could also be delays in message delivery. There's supposed to be a virtual meeting or something at 8 p.m. and then they get to know of it that very day, or even some few minutes or hours at the time. It is wrong. Those are all delays, and sometimes our messages may come to you when the time has even elapsed. And all these things are things that can flaw the project as well. So to draw a communication plan, the project manager must analyze the project organizational structure and its reporting relationships in order for us to do the communication plan. And this encompasses the project's internal and external communication, how it's supposed to be organized. So within the organization, the internal variables, those which are within the organization, and then we're going to look at for outside the organization, how do we communicate with external stakeholders or the public out there. So within the organization, communication could be either upwards from the lowest to the topmost. So like people, employees sending their complaints to their managers or the heads in there. It could be downward, where the project manager is sending some information on what is supposed to be done to the various team leads or to the team members. It could be horizontal, where people of the same function or the same level communicate with each other. So the procurement team lead may be wanting to communicate with the marketing team lead or the communication team lead. Yes, so they are all of the same. Horizontal, they are all of the same as well. Sometimes it could be vertical, either upwards or downwards. Then diagonal communication, so sometimes you may have the staff coming in as well, and all of these are things that goes into the project communication planning process. External communication, like I made mention, is usually with those outside the organization, and so it could be with your sponsors or your public at large or the community as a whole. And this can be face-to-face, it can be presentation of the project's progress, it could be by way of print media, the newsletters or newspapers and all those ones. It could be electronic mails like the emails. It could be television or any kind of media which is appropriate to communicate the right message. Whether it's radio, whether it's TV, you need to look at which medium is the best for the kind of people you have and the type of message you have in there. So the components of the project communication plan is one, the lines of communication. who does what message go to, and where does it go to from there, the scope of the communication, the format and the content of it. The timing is also key in there as well. So when it comes to the components of the project communication plan, we have the stakeholder communication requirement, and we have the information to be communicated, which includes looking at the language, the format, the content, and the level of detail. Some messages are so sensitive, you can't just pass it through word of mouth or something. You need to do face to face, or it needs to be written, and all those ones. The reason for the distribution of that message is also very key in there. And then the time frame we have for it. Some means are faster than some. Obviously, sending a letter is way slow, especially when the hierarchies or the lines of communication are a lot. By the time they will minutes and minutes and minutes and minutes to get to the person, time has gone. But then a phone call or an email could have done the job way faster in there. So the time frame and the frequency of distribution required for the information and receipt of acknowledgement response is also something that has to be considered in there as well. And when it comes to a communication plan, obviously we need to be updating our documents as well on the various things that are changing, the things that are happening, and then it must include, but not limited to, the project schedule, where we've gotten to on that schedule. Are we on point? Are we far behind? What are we doing now? What are we yet to do? And then the stakeholder register as well. All these issues would have to be included in our project document. So the importance of project communication plan is that when the project communication plan actually sets the standard for how and when communication should take place within the project. It also enables the project manager to lead the team for the desired outcome. And then it's also a means of increasing consistency on how the project is handled. And finally, and another important thing is that it ensures that all stakeholders have the same information on the project requirements and changes. And so it is very key to make sure that communication is always going to the right audience at the right time, the right means, and it should be like the message itself should be right and correct and well fine-tuned for the people, and everybody must be well informed at every point of the stage of the project as well. So in this session, we've discussed some elements which are involved in the project communication planning and what project communication plan actually should entail. Thank you.